episode 4. I was so happy that I actually heard the ding this time to start the show, and it just didn't start while we were talking about, I don't know, girly
Everything.
stuff. Yeah, I don't know. So let's get started today. I'm back again, Miss O, and then I also have Vu back on me, Miss Vu.
Yay.
I think it should be Madame.
Madame
Yeah,
Vu.
yeah, Madame Vu. Madame
Well,
Vu.
my main character in 14 is Voodoo Bijou.
Bijou?
Bijou, yeah, Voodoo Bijou. So if that works.
Right? No matter what kind of French it is, like we're about to go out to dinner or something. Like, what you want to do? What you want to do?
My kid is just as bad though. The first name of her character is Feliciano.
Hmm.
None of that
sounds
quirky
like a good
anime
dinner.
names. It's just Feliciano.
That sounds like a really good Italian dinner. I think I might be hungry. So how have you been doing?
Let's see. Since last week we met, I had some sunburn.
Yes, I heard about the sunburn. Mm-hmm.
Because I spent the day outside staring at Asian men.
Because it wasn't New Year. It was what event?
It was considered it was called the Chinese New Year Festival, even though it wasn't Chinese New Year. It was after Chinese New Year, but it's the food festival they have every year. It's also known as the Spring Festival here in Las Vegas. But when they celebrate Chinese New Year, they celebrate it forever here. It's like 4 to 6 weeks. So
sounds like Mardi Gras.
For real though. So I was at the festival all day in direct sunlight supporting my child, which because her martial arts school was involved, and I would just happen to check out the seafoods in her martial arts school. That's all.
Seafood, take off your shirt. Seafood flex. I rename the. I actually stocked one of the seafoods, and I just seafood flex. I can get your number.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was not there. He was in Japan.
Seafood flex. Well, I recently had a birthday, and I told you before we went to Red Lobster early for my birthday, and we won't talk about the number because I honestly don't know how old I am. It's not that I was trying to not know how old I was. It just kind of happened.
Just say you're 30. I tell everybody that one these days. I'm 30.
I stopped counting at 18 because I was like, well, I'm done now. All the good stuff is over. I'm already drinking. So it's like, what's the point? It's like I can get in places. It's all good now. And they don't really, they kind of care about 18 in Vegas. They kind of care about that.
I don't know. I was like a C cup at like 12. So I was already getting into bars at like 14. So
many call child services. So let's get started. So we got a little bit of bookie nerdy news.
Yeah,
actually in there. It's weird. I said it correctly, even though in the notes it's not correctly put there, and I'm actually scared because one of those moments where you kind of Rain Man into something good. I was like, just like I got that right. Whoa! So bookie nerdy news. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is going to be the 8th Harry Potter book. So that was originally the Harry Potter script that was going to go, I think it was either going to go on West End or Broadway or something. But it turns out she's making it a book, a 2-part book.
That blows my mind.
Yes, and it's coming out this year.
That's cool. I got to read it. I've been really enjoying the James Potter books lately.
Are you going to show up? Are you going to show up? I've read the James Potter books, by the way. Are you going to show up?
Oh, for the midnight release?
Yes.
No. See, that was cool when I had like a 2-year-old who was all about Mommy, Harry Potter. And now that 2-year-old is 15. And I'm like, hey, let's do late night Harry Potter book release. And she'd be like,
well, ask her. She's in the other room. Ask her. She's in the other room.
I don't know. Let's see. Fat girl, come here. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I call my kid Fat Girl. It's really not because she's fat. She's actually not at all.
Yeah, out of all the times you could have not had a child services moment during the show.
but it was just what it was is that her doctor at the time said that she was overweight, though Lily doesn't have an ounce of body fat because she works out because of martial arts. Yeah. It's all muscle, and her doctor was like, "Oh, she's slightly overweight," and so we jokingly call her Fat Girl.
Yeah, well. So ask her if she's going to do the Harry Potter midnight release.
There's a new Harry Potter book coming out. Would you like to do the Harry Potter midnight release so we could go get the book at like the middle of the night? See? Jesus. I didn't even finish the sentence.
No, you did. That was so cold. It's like, no, go away now.
You can go back to your cave.
She's like, no, I don't care. I'm so jaded and old now. The joy of Harry Potter is gone for me. I'll read the books because I'm dedicated. But other than that, oh no.
I've been reading the books to her since I was like 6 months pregnant with her. We started off with Goblet of Fire, and then after she was born, we started from book 1 and continued forward.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Harry Potter. I think I might see the midnight release because I think I'll probably get the hardback. It depends on whether or not I can get J.K. Rowling to sign it. When I get J.K. Rowling to sign it, I'm getting a hardback. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Brass taxes. I'll put it in a nice, safe place. Maybe frame it. And then buy a second copy.
You know, it's funny. Back in the day when I did music promotion, I used to do a lot of shit with Far East Movement, and I ended up acquiring a lot of signed Far East Movement shit, and I would jokingly say that I'm just putting it away for when they win that Grammy, and then reselling all that shit on eBay.
Mama needs a new house. Okay, so JK's 8th book comes out possibly in a 2-parter, which sucks.
Yeah.
July 31st, 2016. So if she's doing 2 parts, this must be one hell of a long book.
I wonder if the James Potter books are going to tie in any way.
I don't know. It's really hard to figure out what she's thinking because I didn't see the Beast of the the Fantastical Beast thing. I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming either.
But you want to know what? You remember the recap at the end of the Harry Potter books when they were talking about what happened to Luna Lovegood? I actually found that really interesting. Luna Lovegood is like one of my favorite characters. And it's like such an afterthought, you know?
You know, it's kind of sad. She was kind of an afterthought in the James Potter books, too. It's kind of sad. You like Luna.
I like Luna too. She's like, if I was to take any 2 characters that I wish Luna and you know who I'm talking about, I had actually hooked up for good.
You know, see, yeah, okay, I'm gonna mess this up a little bit because I don't know, maybe I talk to you too much. I don't know, but I could see her with Draco and her breaking him.
Ooh. That's just too much white blonde hair.
Their kids would be clear, but
oh no.
I could see it because she's such a pure soul and he's so not. That I could totally see like that whole romance happening, and I could totally see her just breaking him.
You know, I have to say that even though they did that whole Draco backstory thing, you remember?
Yeah,
they did that whole Draco backstory thing. I think it was like the second to last book. Wait, I'm thinking the movies, but it's the last book. And they were talking about, his life, and he was, trying to, and they were eavesdropping on him while he was in the mansion, and his parents living in fear of Voldemort, because of past misdeeds, and just because Voldemort's an ass, and you can
Yeah.
never really please him when it comes down to it,
That's
because
because he's a
he's,
cockburglar. That's right. I
yeah,
said it.
yeah,
Cockburglar.
well, it is what it is. But I, even though I saw that sort of part of the book, I saw that part of the book. I still don't get what Draco's problem is. I it's like, I mean, because even before that, I mean, Draco was such an ass. He was a little like tub
I
rag.
I think it's baby boy penis syndrome.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I can see it. I can totally
Micro
see it.
penis syndrome.
I was trying to give it the nice title, but okay. Meanie. Are you playing with one of those obnoxious wind up monkeys with the symbols? Because that's what I'm hearing. What are you playing with? It's either one of those or it's a penis pump. It's one of those two. Are you done? What is going on? Are you there? Oh my goodness. I think we're having technical difficulties. Omo. I don't know why we are.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay, I can
I
hear
thought you
you.
were playing with like some weird little either the wind up toy with the tambourine, not tambourine, the symbols, or you're for playing with a penis pump because that's what it sounded like in a loop.
Really? Well, I,
Yeah.
I I had I hit the back end of the mic system, and I was looking at the bars. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, well, maybe she can hear me. And I'm like playing around, thinking that I dropped or you dropped, and I was trying to figure out which one of us
You
dropped.
tapped it wrong.
I tapped the end wrong. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's weird. Okay, let's get back to. I was gonna talk about Harper Lee.
Okay.
So Harper Lee recently, well, not so recently, somewhat recently, somebody recently died, and she wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, and then they, like an asshole, released her other book that she didn't release herself. I think, right? Is that the story?
Yeah. That actually
Which
made
I
me a little bitter because my kid had to read To Kill a Mockingbird for last semester. And like every before you could get the book for like 99 cents like on Kindle. And it raised up the price to like $11.
you're really bringing this up.
That's right, because I'm cheap.
This is, you know what? I don't normally say this, but you're actually real salty still. I mean,
Yes,
it's
I
like
am.
months later.
That money could have went to other things. More video games on Steam, chocolate.
Salty is exactly the way to describe it. But though, I actually really love that book. I can't even like. I was so happy like when I read it when I was like a kid in high school, I think it was. It was like that's like your freshman year book, isn't it?
I we actually ended up skipping that when I was in school, and we ended up reading Of Mice and Men. But my kid's in 8th grade and read it for 8th grade.
Mm.
So
I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I personally love that book. I I even love the stupid movie, even though it's old as hell. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not really sure how I feel about the book, really. I was always more of a Shakespeare kind of kid. So even as an adult,
Ah,
I still kind of lean more towards Shakespeare.
you remember Taming of a Shrew?
That is the story of my life. What you talking about?
Like I like looking back, that was like, oh, you like BDSM.
See, like I'm a difficult woman, and that book, like,
Ah, yeah, that I remember. I had that in my profile on my MySpace profile. I remember putting in, "What's your favorite book?" Taming of the Shrew, and everybody's like, "Taming of the Shrew."
yeah, I'm a difficult woman. That book is, yeah.
Well, you
That's a
know,
manual
when
on how to
push
deal with me.
well, when push comes to shove, when it comes down to it, she was in a tough spot. You know, she was
Yeah,
in a tough spot. There was no win-win in that time period. That's just the way it was.
yeah. But now this time period, I can still openly be a difficult woman.
True.
But anyway, go
True.
on with about Harper Lee. What
Yeah.
about her?
Nothing more. She's dead.
I said she
So Ghost Set
did.
a so To Kill a Mockingbird and Ghost Set a Watchman, which shouldn't have come out. Somebody's just publishing crap.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually read that, and I really wasn't too wild about it.
Ghost Set a Watchman.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it really
So I
because
didn't watch the Oscars.
I said if it was gonna make me have to pay an extra $10 for the damn ebook, I need to read it because it better be good.
Oh, oh, nice. But the Oscars are tonight.
Yeah,
Did you watch?
no.
It's still going on, but
Yeah, I'm playing video games.
yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it either.
Yeah, not feeling it. Just nope.
Okay, so let's let's move on to our smutty chronicles, or in this week possibly urban fantasy chronicles, because we have um the Alex Craft series, which is uh number 4 that we read this week.
Yes, 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 we did.
And we've been talking about it. We've been cheating on you guys. We've been talking about it on and off.
Oh yeah.
So let's go ahead and just talk about, before we get into the Alex Craft series number 4, let's talk about the Alex Craft series 1 through 3.
All right, I can do that.
Now,
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Well, I was gonna
No,
say,
no,
like,
no,
I got into the series because I was whining because I was out of books to read, and you suggested it, and I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And I actually liked the first book, though I still wasn't too wild about the men that they picked.
I've been
But
having a problem with that too, though.
I think all the choices are weak. I think they need to bring one out of left field.
Okay, Little Miss. Okay, the Alex Craft series starts off with Alex Craft number 1, Grave Witch. Alex Craft number 2, Grave Dance. Alex Craft number 3, Grave
Great
Memory. And this is
memories.
about a pretty much somebody who has necromantic powers, meaning that they deal with the dead and ghosts and stuff. And I'm not into ghosts, so for me to recommend a book that deals with ghosts says a lot. Seriously, I'm not into ghosts. Alex Craft, there's a lot of twists and turns in the first book about Alex Craft's background, so I don't really want to get too deep into it, because we're in the non-spoilery portion where we're not trying to be assholes.
Yeah, we were
But
trying.
We're trying. But Alex Craft is a grave witch and she deals with grave magic, and her powers are kind of like are actually in a sense destroying her senses, and that happens to all grave witches. Grave magic is also very rare in her world. The world that Alex Craft is in is actually pretty well fleshed out. If anything, I think like the writer, which is Kalina Price, I think she has
Yeah.
like a map in her house with all this crap on it, and it's like, like a serial killer map or something. Because I I really think like she went deep for this series, and it feels like it's fleshed out before you even. It kind of reminds me of the how fleshed out the uh K Daniel series is with the world
Yeah.
building.
We need to stop referencing to Kate
Cause
Daniels. We
listen,
do it
Kate,
every episode.
that's because we are dedicated, and Kate's our girl.
For real
Okay,
though.
okay. What are you gonna say? Well, the Hollows had a pretty good fleshed out series, like
It was.
worldwide.
Worldwide,
It's
yes.
just the girl we couldn't stand.
Oh, it's really bad when the first thing that comes to your mind is, how the fuck is that a good idea? And I found myself saying it often. How is that a good idea? No, no, how was that a good idea? But yeah. Oh, it was good stuff. I think someone tapped her back in the wrong way again. You're super low. We're live with technical difficulties. My video game's running, but I'm not playing it currently. I'm updating my Goodreads because I read so often that I actually forget to update, and which is horrible. And yeah, it's a really bad problem. I end up reading a lot more than I actually put out there, which becomes a little messy. It does, a little messy. But anyway, so I guess on more about Alex Craft. Pretty much with like the first book, I actually thought it was pretty dope, and it actually got me hooked enough to want to read like the other books. And so I did. And yeah, I'm just gonna I can't even give any more than that. It's just a book about a grave witch who um deals with, everyday life of being a rare type of witch in a world where the Fae walk amongst everyone, and witches are out there too, and it's a pretty good book. um I really hope she comes back soon because I don't want to spoil it too much, because when I get started about this series, it gets crazazel. It really does.
You
Are you
can't hear
there?
me? Yeah,
No,
I'm here.
I heard nothing from you, so I just kept talking. Now
So you still can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. That is so weird. It was just super low.
Yeah, you're extremely low.
Is it still low?
No, you're fine now.
Okay, well, let me put it back to where it was. Am I still low?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Okay. I am never using this mic again. Let's get down. Let's get to spoiling because I need to rip this freaking bra off and spoil the heck out of it.
Okay, let it rip.
Spoiler in time. Okay, so I, I when we left off, the problem with Kalina Price and the Alex Craft series is it takes years for the books to come out, which drives me nuts.
I got caught onto this series where the first 3 were already out, and it was actually a pleasant surprise that the 4th one was out one day while we're just talking, and then I see it, I'm like, hey.
But I gave you ample warning. I was like, listen, this author takes a really long time to come out with books. I'm going to give you this, and it's going to piss you off, but here, take it. Like it was like it was MDMA or something.
The new ecstasy right there, kids.
Here, take this book.
Molly.
Now, at the end of book 3, it didn't end that well, and I didn't enjoy it. The main reason I didn't enjoy it is because I didn't feel like it was a necessary book.
Yeah.
It felt transitional, and the problem with the transitional book is you can have a transitional book, but there has to be a book following it very fast.
She could have turned that whole thing into a novella. I really think there was just a lot of unnecessary elements, and that the important elements was all that really mattered, and that could have been summed up in a novella.
Probably, yeah. But I think what really pissed us both off is that spoilering time some more. Death was never a realistic relationship, and I just found it was like reading a Teenage Dreamland girl series or something. You know?
Yeah,
remember?
she was just he's like her imaginary boyfriend.
Yeah. A guy who has been with her since she was 6 years old, and who met her in one of the most emotionally vulnerable times of her life,
and had her choose between whether or not her mother lives or dies.
And then actually let her mother live so that her mother rotted away in her body and couldn't leave and pass on, which we find out in the 4th book.
That's kind of jacked up. Just a little bit jacked up. Just saying.
Yeah. I kind of... Do you get weird pedo feelings from Death?
Yeah, actually, I kind of do.
I mean, he for some reason, when we went to book 4, I mean, he had some sexy, but he never was off the charts sexy. I think he's off the charts sexy for the author who's writing it, because she can see it in her head, but I don't see what she sees in Death.
I wouldn't have given hazel eyes, though.
Hazel works sometimes. Hazel works sometimes.
I have hazel eyes, and the only time I find them interesting is when I'm angry, because they turn gold.
Yeah. But I don't know. The whole fact that spoiling time, the whole fact that in book 4 they had that aside with Death basically putting it all her fucking shit in the street.
Oh know? Yeah. What's my name?
It's not even that. It's that, you remember that the side when he was like, oh, who does that? Who lets a 6-year-old girl or 5-year-old girl watch her mother rot away in her body? I'm like, oh wow.
That was terrible.
You know what was good though? In Alex Craft 4, it got bloody.
Yes, it did. It finally reached some decent darkness
and a decent gore level as well, because one of the things I didn't like about the Grave Witch series is you basically got rotting corpses and graviness, and it never sounds like dirty and gritty.
This time you had a fucking clown climbing through the TV screen and shit, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah, I wasn't big on the clown. The clown is actually a little too scary for me.
Yeah, that was a little scary, and yet it added something great to the book. It was, I think this one was, out of all of them, this was probably her best one, in my opinion.
I would have to say it's the most, creepy clown music, circus house music starts playing. This is the most gravy of all the Grave the Grave Witch series here, the Alex Craft series, and I kind of expected it to do that in the first one, and I kind of wish it would have done it throughout the series a bit more, because I feel like it's been very clean.
Yeah.
When it comes to gore and violence, and I like a lot of gore and violence. I just do.
I don't know. My biggest problem with the books really is just the weak ass like choices for the men, and the ones that would be good ones. No, they're just friends.
Mm. Well, you have Death, then you have
Yeah, the
Phelan,
imaginary
which I hate his
boyfriend.
name,
You have the weak bitch ass knight.
from
Uh,
the dark the he's the Winter Queen's consort, or not consort, but Winter Queen's
he's the Winter Queen's
bloody
bitch.
hands. Yeah.
Carl, let me see
Kind of
it.
assassin.
He's just her bitch. Like
It
it's so
didn't play
terrible
well.
too. And but you know what though? And then she has her betrothed from the Shadow Court, who's in line to be heir to the Shadow Court throne.
He
And
said that he knew her, though, remember?
yeah, I actually was thinking about that. What if Alex is actually a lot older than she thinks she is?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, especially since like she bled true for Faye blood. Like, what if she's just a lot older? And he locked those memories away. Like he could have like froze her in stasis until she was like he could have froze her at like age 5
I
in
don't know.
stasis. Because her
Her
earliest
dad
memories they
is
talked about with her little sister was like I think they were like 6 or 7 years old, something like that.
her dad is just so creepy, though.
Yeah, he is, but I think he's kind of a necessary evil.
Yeah, he reminds me. Never mind. We're banishing it. But you know what I want to say?
That he reminds you of Trent.
No. He
Because he
reminds
does
me
remind me
of
of Trent.
no. He reminds me of the series that we just said we won't mention every single show.
Oh God. Really? No, I don't think he is much like him. I
Kind of
think
that long game.
I think with Roland is actually quite aware of his menacingness. Like he knows he's menacing, but he doesn't realize how much creepier people perceive him. I think a lot of it
Oh,
is just absent-mindedness. Like
right.
I think with her dad, he's trying to be tougher on her to prepare her for dealing with the courts. She can't
Yeah.
be sunshiny and happy and cutesy wootsy and then try to deal with the courts at the same time. Like that's not gonna fucking work for her. They're gonna slay
That
her.
is true. That is true. That's not. I would say that you're. I would say I actually agree with that. I would actually second that in saying that she also what I think he's trying to give her is an edge as well, like an actual like vindictiveness, so that people don't mess with her, and she doesn't want to. If he can't give her the vindictiveness, he wants to give her the protection to keep the bloodline going, because he's invested so much in fixing fixing the fairy. What are they calling it in this series?
The fake courts.
No. What do they call the fairyland?
Oh, fairy.
Oh, I think he's gonna. I think he's invested so much because they seem to need people who can do what she can do. They seem to really need
Yeah.
people who can do what she can do.
Well, see, that's what makes her a high commodity.
And that what he's afraid of is that all the other courts are going to do something stupid like kill her,
Yeah,
which would
unfortunately.
be really dumb, because fairy seems to need somebody to unknot something inside of it regularly, so that the gates and everything work or something. I don't know. They haven't really fleshed that out. Do you feel like they haven't really fleshed it out yet?
I think that I think she's trying to figure out what approach she wants to use to the Phalor. That's the only way I can see it, because you know, if you can't do what they did in the Fever series, and let's just tear all the fences down, and you can't do that. So I think she needs to work a little bit more with her lore to make it make more sense. Because it really just sounds like all the fairies are trapped and only certain fairies can get out, and that's really really sad. Boo hoo hoo.
Well, it sounds like there's rotating doors in all over the world.
Yes.
In that Fae is everywhere, all over the world, and then they walk to a new door. The doors constantly change, and nobody's given warning when they change. But once that door changes, then they no longer have access to that area.
Well, that's a common thing in Fae lore, that all there is just a veil between the real world and fairy.
Yeah.
So, you know, like doing the revolving doors thing is kind of cool. Doing the time slip thing is kind of cool, but she doesn't explain why there can be time slips. Like, why do you have to really sign that ledger going in and out of the little pocket of fairy so that your time doesn't get altered? Like, you know,
Because
she never explained that.
it's a common part of lore that you lose track of time inside of
But she
the
doesn't always lose track of time.
because of the well, you don't lose track of time. I wouldn't say that, but time can move differently and sometimes can move the same. But by signing in and out of the ledger book, it somewhat negates that.
But when she goes and visits the pocket that's within her father's home that she tore open, time doesn't change for her.
But that's like going to when you go to the pocket, it's not exactly going to fairy. It's going to fairy, the land of the dead, all the other places. Just like the other one, it has strings and if it has strings and etheric there, which launches it. And we're putting way too much thought to this, but
Yes,
it
we are.
launches it into that time period. Though, God, this is deep in the geeky.
Yeah,
But
it is.
it's like the
But if they didn't give us things to question, then that means that the author was underestimating the intelligence of her readers. So
well, that's like the tea room. That's like the tea room.
yeah.
It's not okay when you cross through the door of fairy. You cross through the door, and that's where the ledger would come into play. But if you never really leave the tea room, you don't really lose track of that much time. I think that's the way
Actually,
it
she
goes.
lost, like, didn't she lose like 4 days when she was caught in by the fiddler?
I think so. And she didn't sign out. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. That is a plot hole. You win.
I just blew incense in my own face. I get these incense at the corner store, and they're called Black Love. They're like a musky, fruity scent.
Okay. Let's see. I think we talked about. Did we talk this book out?
I don't think we really did. I think we really need to visit more of those damn men and how they suck.
I can feel you're deep in your hating on that. I guess
I
I feel
really
a deep
want
shade
her
on that.
with. I actually kind of at this point want her with the Nightmare King. It makes more sense though.
It
Nightmare
makes
King
sense to
doesn't really
you.
have its own territory. She doesn't necessarily have to live in the nightmare realm them because the nightmare realm is almost everywhere. Like, so she
So
could
therefore, she won't have
actually,
to move around.
yeah. Also, he actually seems to be the strongest choice, and like the author could totally go with like a Tybalt angle, like they did in the October Day books. He's very flashy, like Tybalt.
What was going on with that Reese subplot? Well, I guess that was the main plot for this book, but it felt like a overall subplot. That was just really weird.
I think it helps.
It's the connection to the next court. I think,
Yeah,
yeah. But if
it's
he
another
has
court
that,
option though.
but if he has that metal spike in his hand, he can no longer go to Fury, correct?
Yeah.
Because it won't accept him. He won't be able to, there's no port that will accept him, and Fairy itself would reject him,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So what is he going to do?
That is a good question.
And he can't live in the human world. So what is he going to stay in the Blue Lagoon area? I mean,
The blues.
I didn't get that.
I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. That one I didn't speculate on yet. Give me time. We're getting there. We're getting there. But yeah, we totally rate this book already. It's speaking of that. uh, a certain someone who is a panelist, well, actually a co-host on my other podcast, that people make jokes about him sounding rapey. Like they like 6 rapey comments today while we were like running through dungeons, and I'm like, if you weren't so chick-like, I'd be worried.
That's true.
And he was just like, yeah, I'd be worried too.
We haven't figured out what we're gonna read next. We still have Beg to finish off.
Yeah.
But and I actually read Hate Room, and I'm not sure it's.
I'm actually almost done book 2 of Jane Yellowrock, and you know what? I actually like it a lot better than book 1.
Okay. So if you end up digging in deep, because it's going to take you a while to read through Jane Yellowrock if you hang on. But if she makes it through Yellowrock, we'll talk about Yellowrock next week. If not, what we'll talk about will probably be just news, and then we'll wait till next week.
I listen to the audiobooks while I'm gaming, and I know a lot of people don't have that attention span, but you know what? I'm a single mom, so multitasking is my job. And yeah, like I go zen when I game, so while I'm listening to it, the audiobook has more of my attention than the game does. It's weird.
I listen, I can listen to, I'm with you. I prefer that mellowing, listening to a book and just, either physically reading a book or listening to a book while I walk, or listening to a book while I do stuff, or listening to a book and just like zonking.
I've been entering this weird thing lately where like sometimes when I just sit down just to read a book, like and physically read the book, I feel like I could be doing something else while I'm doing that.
So would you recommend this series? Would you recommend the series to everybody or anybody in particular?
In fact, I told Raven about it. That she's still getting through the October Day books.
See, October Day is another one that has a lot of Fae lore in it.
But it has multiple types of Fae lore, which is actually pretty awesome because you have the Japanese Fae and you have the a lot of the different Asian Faes as well as the European Faes. So it's a big, rich world, and I like it. And she's getting into it. I also she made an announcement yesterday. She is no longer capable of writing yaoi.
Oh.
Yeah.
What happened?
I think our experiment
this
worked.
isn't really a topic for the show, but
I think our experiment
here. Thank you. I'm sorry for the technical difficulty this week. I will never use this mic again, promise, unless there's some sort of natural disaster with my other mic.
I'm actually getting a new headset on Monday. I'm coming in. I headset a lot. I know I should be using a mic more, but I don't know. There's a coziness that I feel.
Well, have you ever thought about doing the mic with a boom?
I don't like the boom mics because after a while, that little boom stops like being in the spot that I want it to be at. I have a boom mic right now. I don't dig it. So yeah. But
yeah,
our experiment with her worked. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, let me go ahead and end this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on episode 4. We are happy to have you. I can't wait till next week. See you next Sunday. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Ciao.